Hi everyone, Emily here over at Emily Reads, and today I have for you a bookish haul. So it was my birthday, and I splurged, and I had some money from Pango books. So I got some things from there, and I was part of a booktube besties virtual retreat where we received recommendations. So I bought some books from those recommendations, and then we also were part of a bookish exchange. So where like we put our it was totally voluntary. We put our name on a spreadsheet, we put our wish list on there, and then we were assigned someone to gift books to, and vice versa. So all sorts of hall-ish books. So here we go. Let's get started. So first up was my Pango Books order, or not Pango Books. Sorry. First up was my book of the month. So first I got A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Liang, and I can never remember what this book is about. So I'm not going to go too much into it, but from what I understand, this is their like romantic fantasy, historical fantasy pick. And then I also picked A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. I've heard so many good things about T. Kingfisher, so I need to read. I have another long stuff yet to read it, so I picked this up. I'm loosely trying to do the hardest reading challenge ever. This came out in August. So, according to the challenge, you're supposed to read the book also in the month that it comes out. Clearly, that hasn't happened for me for August. So, it's okay. I'm going to just do the best that I can because reading is supposed to be fun, right? And then lastly, because you get a free book, and so this is my free book, was The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose, which follows Molly the maid, and she's now head maid at her hotel, and there's yet another murder at the hotel that she is going to investigate. I really enjoyed The Maid. I'm looking forward to reading book 3. Then at work, we have a table in our teacher's lounge where you can leave stuff that you don't want anymore and people can pick through and take it if they want it. And I found The Plot is Murder by V.M. Burns. So this is the first book in a mystery bookshop mystery. And I don't know too much about it other than I was like, oh, it's free. It's a cozy mystery. Why not? Let me give it a try. And from what I understand, our main character, Samantha Washington, she wants to own a mystery bookstore. And so she's about to open one. And as she's also opening her bookstore, she's trying to write a cozy mystery set in England. And of course, there's going to be a murder that they're going to have to investigate. So, and from what I understand, it's a story within a story. Then we're going to talk about a couple of books that I bought with some Pango store credit. I think in total I spent like $10 for all my Pango books. So the first book I bought was A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Catherall. And from what I understand, this is the story of two people who have, this story is epistolary, so it's told via letters, and it's two people who have met through letters, and they've talked about like just different like academic things, I believe. And then the letters, the seaquake, there's a seaquake that destroys E's home, and the woman, and Henry the man, they disappear. So then E's sister and Henry's brother then step in and try to investigate and try to figure out where did they go. And this book came with a bookmark from the seller. It also has the signed template there, or card plate there. And then also with store credit, I got Elizabeth of East Hampton by Audra Beliza and Emily Harding. And this is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice. And I had read Emma on 83rd Street by them, which was their first novel. And that was the modern retelling of Emma. And from this, from what I understand, is Elizabeth Bennet. She lives in the Hamptons, and she hates it when people from New York, the rich people, come in and they visit during the summertime. And she is trying to save her family's struggling bakery. And Charlie is dating Jane and wants to set Darcy up with Elizabeth. So I'm here for a Pride and Prejudice retelling. And then the next set of books are recommendations from the BookTube Besties virtual reading retreat, so Krista from Books and Jams, Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand, Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library, and then Amanda, whose channel name is On the Middle Shelf. She's kind of stopped filming videos because she's a busy person, and family is more important right now. So twice a year they host this reading retreat where we get together on Zoom and we talk books with other people, and we have an opportunity to share a book that we really enjoyed and think other people should read. And so you sit there and you write down all the recommendations, and then I went and got some of those books. So first I got Iona Iverson's Rules for Commuting by Claire Pooley. And from what I understand, this book is about Iona Iverson, who commutes every day to work on the train. And she's an advice columnist, and she commutes with her dog. And, you get to see the same people on the train, but you might not necessarily speak to them until one day a man chokes on a grape. And there's a nurse on the train who saves him, and that just kind of starts a chain of events. So it sounds super heartwarming. Then I also picked up Catherine by Anya Seton, and this follows the story of Catherine Swynford and John of Gaunt, Duke of Lancaster. And so they are ancestors to most of the British royal family. And it's set in the Middle Ages, the time of like castles and serfs and Edward III, the Black Death. And so it just sounded intriguing. I used to read a lot of Philippa Gregory at one point in time. So she sounds like she's a precursor to her. And just look how beautiful that cover is. It's just stunning. And then I also picked up Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. And this is a story of Laura and her three daughters. And her three daughters return home to Michigan, and they ask their mother to tell the story of her love affair with like a famous actor. Yes, Peter Duke. He's a famous actor. And because she worked one summer with him at a theater known as Tom Lake. I've heard from people who have read this book, I've heard wonderful things about it. So this would be my first Ann Patchett novel. I've heard wonderful things about her writing. So, and then not with Pango dollars, but I still went and thought that this was super cute. This was a recommendation from, I got at Barnes & Noble. This was also a recommendation from the virtual reading retreat. I picked up Garlic and the Vampire, which by Bree Paulson, which is a middle grade graphic novel. I don't usually read graphic novels. In fact, this will probably be my first ever graphic novel that I've read. Not that I have anything against graphic novels. I don't. Um, I just get so distracted by all the pictures, and I'm like, where do I look? I don't know where to go. So we're going to give it a go. But this is about a very like scared and non-confident, high anxiety garlic bulb, and he and his community of vegetables, they hear that a vampire has moved into the castle nearby, and they send Garlic. They volunteer her to go to the castle to check this out, and she shockingly agrees. So I've heard wonderful things about this as well, that it's super cute. And then the person who got me, as far as like they needed to gift things to from our book exchange, the virtual treat, was Krista over at Books and Jams. And so she picked 2 books off of my wish list. And the first one she picked up was Under the Banner of Heaven by John Krakauer. So this is narrative nonfiction. And this is about a murder. These 2 brothers, Ron and Dan Lafferty, they murdered a woman and a baby girl, and they believed that they had a commandment from God to kill them. And so this is just like, how could this have been done? This is about fundamentalist Mormons, and just like how far gone in their beliefs that they went. These 2 brothers, during the retreat, we're on Zoom and in the chat, somehow the subject of cults came up. I don't remember how. And I said, like, I'm fascinated by cults, that I'm fascinated by the entire psychology behind them. How can usually one leader like come up with something that people like, just how charismatic someone can be, that people can just follow this person who believes things that are just very strange and very dangerous, but they follow it. And then, so the psychology behind the leader, the psychology behind the followers, and then when the followers realize like this is not okay and they leave, like all of that, how that all plays out. So that's, I think, why she picked that up for me. And then she also picked up Lasagna Means I Love You, which by Kate O'Shaughnessy, which she had read on her channel. And actually, that's why I put it on my wish list, is hearing her talk about it and thinking, oh, that sounds super cute. But this is about Mo, and her life is kind of turned upside down when her nan passes away, and she ends up getting placed into foster care. And she's advised that she needs to take up a hobby. And so she starts cooking and starting to gather other people's family recipes and making them. So it just sounds like a very heartwarming book. And then I had a little reading adventure last week. I live in a college town, and then an hour away is another college town. So I went to that other college town because there's a bookstore that's also like a wine bar. And so I went for that bookstore, and it was really crowded. I wasn't too, like, the books that were there were like popular. It was a small bookstore, and they were all like popular titles that I either had read, already owned, or was hoping to get, but not spend as much money as that they were asking for the books. Because I was like, I could get that on Pango. And it was just packed. So I didn't stay long in that store. But there was a used bookstore like 2 doors down, and they had The Blackbird Oracle by Deborah Harkness. And I love the All Souls trilogy. Love it. I've read the first 2 books a few times. The 3rd book I've read once, maybe twice. But I read them more than once in like quick succession. because I just so thoroughly enjoyed it. And Time Converts I was actually really disappointed in, because I felt like that she did 3 storylines in one book, and it was too much. This story takes place several years after the events of the All Souls trilogy. And it seems like it just focuses solely on Matthew and Diana. So I'm hoping we're going to have a more cohesive story and a more developed story and plotline. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Probably read this in October, because I got all sorts of vampire books I want to read, and Matthew is a vampire. So there we go. And then, sorry, I have my books on the floor beside me and I had to reach down. My light company is like a co-op. So occasionally, or my electric company is a co-op. So sometimes we'll get refund checks. And I had small, it wasn't huge, but I'm like, I can justify buying a book with that because I wasn't expecting this money. So I picked up How to Become a Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. And this is the story of Davi, who she has tried to be a hero. She's tried to take the Dark Lord, and every time that she does it, 100 times she's tried to do this. And by the time that she gets to the end, she's killed quickly. Sometimes it might take a while, but every time she ends up getting defeated and the Dark Lord wins. So she decides, I'm going to become the Dark Lord, and that way I could be on the winning side. What a fun premise that is. And I've heard, my sister read this and she said it's full of snark throughout the book, which I'm here for that. And then lastly, on books, a viewer so kindly gifted me 2 things. The first thing was a bookmark. And it says, I'm in my reading era, and it's double-sided. So thank you so much, Cajun Peach, for that. And she purchased this off of someone's Etsy store. So if you don't mind, Cajun, if you could put in the comments the name of the Etsy store. I know you can't put in links, but if you could put in the name, because I honestly forget the name. But go check them out, because the bookmarks are super cute. But then she also got me, off my wish list, which was so kind and sweet of her, Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tirza Price. And so this is the second in the Jane Austen murder mystery stories. And in this, the Dashwood father, he passes away, of course, as he does in Sense and Sensibility. But the family owns an investigation firm, a private investigation firm called Norland and Company. And Mary Ann works as the protege. And so, of course, they're going to investigate, like, did our father die of natural causes? Because, of course, Fanny, was it Fanny? I can't remember the wife's name. I thought it was Fanny. I'm sitting here thinking Fanny Price, but Fanny Price is Mansfield Park. So I can't remember the sister-in-law's name now. So the brother and the sister-in-law, they move in because the brother, he inherits everything. And then they're having to move to like a London apartment. So I super enjoyed Pride and Premeditated Murder. So looking forward to reading this one and eventually the 3rd book in the series. And then last thing I need to show you is not a bookish item, but it's a puzzle. How beautiful is this? And that is from the world of the Brontes. I do love Jane Eyre. I need to reread it. It's been like 2 decades since I've read it. But I love Jane Eyre. I have not read Wuthering Heights. In fact, I refuse to read Wuthering Heights. But I need to read like Agnes Grey and other 10 of Wyfield Hall. Like I need to read more of their works. But the puzzle is beautiful. I've started doing more puzzles. I've only done 5 total in my lifetime. Like that are 1,000 piece. So I'm a little nervous about this one. Because I can do the ones that are like book covers or album covers where it's like clear, like here's a new section, right? This one has a lot of grass, has a lot of brick houses, has a lot of brick roads, but I'm nervous that things will blend in together. But I need to work on my spatial awareness because I'm terrible with this. So that's the reason why I wanted this kind of puzzle. They have, and it's just beautiful. They have one for the world of Jane Austen. They have one for King Arthur. They have one for Bram Stoker. They have one for Arthur Conan Doyle. They have Hercule Poirot and Agatha Christie, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want them all. I want them all. So, whew, thanks for watching if you've made it this far. Thank you again, Krista. Thank you again, Cajun Peach. Thank you so much. I so appreciate your generosity. Please let me know which ones you think I should prioritize. If you've read any of them, did you like them? And as always, do all the social media things. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.